Hi, everybody. Morgan right back here, CEO of the National Center for Open and Unsolved Cases, openunsolved.org. Demo coming up July 30th from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to register, that's how you do it. Here's how to order right here, openunsolved.org. We'll get you added to it, especially if you're a law enforcement agency. We've got a lot more agencies showing up on our call everywhere from here in Virginia to Kansas to Pennsylvania. So we're getting more agencies to show up, and we are going to need people to do some beta testing for us. Um, People that we're going to do a session on Friday, August 1st from 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern time that we're going to do a deep dive. The people who sign up to beta test will be given an account ahead of time. We'll do some training. We'll walk you through it. We need your feedback. So if you can do it, openunsolved.org. That's where everything starts. Hey, I wanted to show you a couple things, couple pictures real quick because I wanted to make a point. So back in the day, this was me working with I guess I didn't get the picture to go all the way across. This was me working with John Walsh, America's Most Wanted. I was actually on the 1000th episode with them. One of the solutions I designed was featured on that, and I actually have a link for that. I may put that up later. But the interesting thing was the reason I show you this is that everybody at that time, at its heyday, right? Everybody wanted their case on there. So at any one time, you might have 2,000 cases that wanted to be on there. This is us at an event at the International Association of Chiefs of Police. We were giving away leather jackets with John Walsh's uh, the logo for AMW there on the back. So it's pretty cool stuff. But I say all that to say this. Here's why I say this. It's because at any one time, right, 2,000 cases, only five, maybe five could make the show. On network television, if a show's an hour long, it means it's only 44 minutes long. You have 16 minutes of commercial, 12 commercials nationally, four commercials locally, or 4 minutes locally, but 44 minutes of content. So every show had to be 44 minutes long. In that 44 minutes, you had all sorts of other stuff you had to do. So the chances of getting a case highlighted, I mean, the odds were pretty stacked against you. So that means we had to pick winners and losers. I didn't like doing that. There should not be winners and losers when you're trying to find a fugitive, trying to solve a cold case, trying to find the missing, trying to name the unidentified, trying to stop human trafficking. We shouldn't pick winners and losers. So that's what I'm talking about today is the difference that the Holmes platform does, what we do at the National Center for Open and Unsolved Cases, openunsolved.org, right there. What we do differently is that every case has an equal chance to be solved. When we have law enforcement put a case in on the one side, out of that case, we take locations. That's what we're starting with first is locations. Why? Because we're all connected by 6 degrees of separation. In fact, less. We're all connected by 6 degrees of separation to a case. Everybody is connected to every case in the United States. One of the key things that links us is location. Did you live in the same place? Did you work in the same place? Did you go to school in the same place, right? So a location drives a lot of this. But once law enforcement puts that case in there, we extract all of the locations. We turn them into zip plus fours so that we're able to pinpoint on a map exactly where this happened at. And then law enforcement draws a circle around that, a radius, and so they can find any connections. Now, that's one side, right? On the other side are you, the citizens. When you sign up, again, it's all anonymous. Law enforcement never knows who you are unless you decide to disclose that. But when you go in there, we say, hey, let's start off with 3 locations. Give us where you grew up at. Give us where you worked at. Give us where you went to school at. If you want to put out where you currently lived or where you used to live, you can do that too. Law enforcement never sees this. I just want to emphasize that from a privacy standpoint, law enforcement never sees this. All they know is that at some point, if you decide to leave a tip, that's how it's going to be done is by linking one of their locations to one of your locations. You're going to get the notification, and it's going to allow you then to decide, do I do nothing? Do I leave a tip but leave it anonymously, or do I leave a tip and tell them who I am so you can get a hold of me? It's the same three choices you've always had. We're just automating this. Here's what makes the difference. Think of it like fingerprints, right? You take a fingerprint from a crime scene. You take fingerprints. There's two things about fingerprints. Either you know the source or you don't know the source. All you have is the fingerprint, right? So when I went in to get my security clearances, when I went in for law enforcement, they would do a 10 print, right? Take your 10 fingers, or 4 fingers and 2 thumbs technically, but take your 10 digits, do a 10 print. So that was a known sample. But when I was a detective investigating crime, we'd get unknown samples, right? You'd be out there and you'd be going, let's lift some prints, right? We have print on a gun. Who does it belong to? We don't know. So we take that print and then we submit it. At that time, it was called IAFIS, the Integrated Automated Fingerprint Identification System. Now it's called NGI, Next Generation Identification, because we're getting into things like biometrics and other things like that. So it's not just latent prints. But you could take a print like that, and you'd put it into the system, and it would tell you one of two things: either there's a hit there, or there's not. And if there's a hit there, it would tell you then one of another two things: either it's a known sample or it's an unknown sample. I could have had this same print lifted at another crime scene, unknown who gave it, right? So I have two unknown prints in the system, but now I've linked a case together. So this is all we do, but the difference here is we have known locations. When we use our citizen case coordinators, which will be some of you folks out there, if you're a citizen and you want to be involved in this, openunsolved.org. We've got a demo, like I say, coming up Wednesday, July 30th from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. And then for those that are selected to be part of our beta test, we're doing a very in-depth 2 hour. We're going through it feature by feature, function by function, making sure that it works. So you'll actually have the chance to help us refine, find anything before we go live with this. So when we go live, uh, we want to start putting cases in, and that's where you're really going to help. So here's the other reason it makes a difference, because once we put those locations in there, once you put your locations in there, it's sitting and waiting. It's waiting for a case. It's either matching a case that's already in there and you're getting the notifications, or it's sitting there waiting until law enforcement puts a case in from their side where there's a location in common. Let's say that we have a connection in a very remote location of Montana. I mean, there may not be any connections there. You put that in there, but let's say that law enforcement's working a case, and they find that the kidnap victim was held for a while in this remote cabin out in Montana. Well, how else would law enforcement know that you stayed at that same remote cabin when you were out doing hunting? Because you now can put that in there, say, hey, look, I stayed at this cabin, but that might have been a year ago, might have been 6 months ago, might have been 2 weeks ago, right? We don't know. But now we can start making these connections. So that's what I wanted to tell you, is that the power of Holmes is that we don't pick winners and losers. What we pick are, you have a case that needs to be in there as long as it meets the criteria, which you don't get to put in, especially I wanted people to understand these have to be law enforcement cases. They have to have case numbers. We're not just going to put in a case for a private investigator, or because some citizen said, well, my brother Fred's gone, I'd really like to find him because he owes me money. We're not a collection agency. We're not going to be doing that, right? So that has to be a law enforcement case. It has to have a case number. It could have what's called a VICAP number, a Violent Criminal Apprehension Program. So it could be part of a case that you've entered because you might think it's part of a serial crime, or it's an unsolved crime, and you're trying to say, hey, we want to see if it's linked to anything else, potentially a serial crime. Or it could be NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, called namus.gov, namus.gov. So it could be in there as well. So any of those things, but it has to have a case number, because ultimately we're not investigators, we're coordinators. We help coordinate connecting people to cases to generate tips, so that you, if you're a law enforcement agency, you've got more information now to solve this. Cool thing, I was talking with one of my buddies, Johnny C. I won't use his whole name yet for reasons of national security, and I didn't ask him, but Johnny C. Does cold case homicides. He actually teaches no body cases. Was talking with him this morning. We've got opportunities with the International Homicide Investigators Association, which I'm a member of. Also, I'm a member of the Association of Former Intelligence Officers. I don't know how those two go together. We'll talk about that later. The Mid-Atlantic Cold Case Homicide Investigators Association is having a meeting in August. The International Homicide Investigators having a meeting in August down in Louisville, Kentucky. Not Louisville. It's incorrectly. It's Louisville. There's 6 ways to pronounce it, but Louisville is not one of them. The Virginia Homicide Investigators Association having a meeting in September. There's a lot of good things going. Actually, I just got a reply back this morning from the Attorney General of Virginia, Jason Mayaris. I ran into him at a human trafficking conference. I've got a meeting set up with their cold case unit, the people running that. So we'll be doing that towards the end of the week. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up. There's a lot of neat things happening. But the reason I wanted to do this segment is to let people know is that when we talk about Holmes, we're talking about a system that every case has the equal opportunity to get solved. We don't. It's about ones and zeros. The system does not know what your social status is, what your sexual preferences, what your height, weight, hair, eye color, scars, mark. It doesn't know that. All it knows is that location from a citizen, location from law enforcement. Do they match into that zip +4 area? Yes. Or in the radius search? Yes. Being connection to the citizen, they decide, do I say nothing? Do I say something? Or do I say something anonymously? Up to them, same as always before. That's going to make the difference. There's no system like this in the United States right now. This is a project between the National Center for Open and Unsolved Cases, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Virginia Association of Chiefs of Police, and our pilot agency, Chesterfield County Police. So if you're a law enforcement agency out there, I don't care anywhere, but join up, go to openunsolved.org if you're a citizen and you want to just see what the technology is going to do, because you'll be happy to just join. Or if you want to be one of our citizen case coordinators, reach out again, openunsolved.org. So hey, that's it. Just nothing fancy. Just wanted to explain to everybody why this system is going to be different than anything you've seen before. It's a system built for the public, not the police. This system has been built for you, the public, to enable you to help solve crime. How would you feel if you knew that you could contribute to closing a cold case, finding somebody who was responsible for the murder of another human being? How about finding somebody who kidnapped somebody, sexually assaulted somebody, involved in human trafficking, a fugitive from justice? By the way, fugitives from justice on average commit 15 crimes while they're out running around before they get grabbed. A lot of times by the U.S. Marshals, really good people at the U.S. Marshals that do this kind of stuff. So just some things to think about. But if you're a citizen, please join. If you're a law enforcement agency, please join our demo July 30th from 3 to 4 p.m. openunsolved.org. Just register. We'll get you out there. So stay tuned. I've got some more videos coming out, but we just wanted to get this out far and wide, start letting people know, here's what we're doing. We appreciate your help. Here's Out of Order. Talk to you guys soon.